I watch a lot of YouTube, and today I wanted to share the YouTubers that I think are the best in their given category. We will work on a better name for that, but there's a lot of them, so let's just get into it. So the first category is photography and videography, and the first channel I want to talk about is Mango Street, and they have videos that are short and sweet photography and videography tutorials. And you can tell that they are really trying to help their community of aspiring photographers and videographers because they talk about things that I think other channels may not discuss. So one of their more popular, or I guess one of my favorite videos of theirs, is how to pose people who are not models, which obviously a lot of especially aspiring photographers don't have the luxury of working with professional models. So that video kind of addresses that. Another one is how to, best position your photos for Instagram. So it's like very of the times, which I really appreciate. And also Daniel and Rachel, who are like the owners of this channel, also can really walk the walk. If you look at their photos or even just the videos on this channel, they are shot so beautifully and so wonderfully that you're going to good people for advice. Their production quality is amazing. You know that they can tell a good story through their photos and videos. So if you're looking to get more into photography or videography, highly recommend Mango Street. Next in this category is Allison Anderson, and she is kind of like a beauty influencer turned travel photography influencer, and she has these beautiful travel videos, and her whole ethos is actually about solo travel. And I believe she began her journey a couple years ago where she decided to take her first solo trip, and that just like led her on this whole thing about solo travel that is now her life. Obviously not right now during the pandemic, but that's kind of like what her work is about. And she shares her story, and she shares tips about how to travel alone and how to travel alone as a woman. So it's always really interesting, and her videos are just shot so beautifully, and her photos as well, obviously on her Instagram, are so beautiful. And every place that she goes, it just makes me want to go there too, because she makes it look so picturesque and beautiful. And also her travel videos aren't just like a generic could be National Geographic video. She also incorporates the kind of like vlog style into her videos, which I really like. So it's not just anybody could have done it. It has a little bit of personality as well. The next category is film and television. And to be quite honest, I never really considered myself like a film buff or somebody who was really into cinema. I always actually joked that I didn't have any taste in movies because I kind of just enjoyed everything that I watched, and I didn't have much to say about why I liked or didn't like something. It was kind of just about the story. If it had a happy ending, that's why I liked it. But actually watching these YouTube channels kind of made me appreciate film a little bit more. So the first one I want to talk about is Lessons from the Screenplay, and this channel just kind of dissects a script, and you can see how they're talking about it, how that script is brought to life. And it's really amazing, especially for somebody who doesn't know much about film at all, seeing the words from the page and having that side by side with what's on the screen. It's really incredible. And they talk about screenwriting and how that story gets told. And in talking about it, he kind of tells you how to tell a compelling story and like how to write a character arc and kind of things like that. So for anybody who's interested in screenwriting or just like storytelling in general, especially for film, this is a really amazing channel to watch. The next YouTube channel in the film genre is called The Take, and they were formerly Screen Prism, I believe, but this channel is so cool. And first of all, they put out videos like so frequently. I want to say it's almost every day, but I don't know how they do it because their videos, the quality is so good, and you can tell that they must have put so much thought into it. But they just talk about like different themes in film, and they don't talk about it like one film at a time, but they talk about like the whole, I guess, ecosystem of film and how representations on the screen affect how we think about things in real life. So it's kind of like a cultural commentary at the same time, which is so fascinating. And my favorite videos of theirs are the deconstructions of different tropes. So they have things like I'm making this up at this point, but like a nice girl and like the ladies' man. Recently they've been doing a lot about Black representation on screen, so they had this video about the strong Black woman, which was fascinating, and they talk about how that does a disservice to Black women in the real world, because on screen they're represented as these like really strong, invincible creatures basically, and if we think about that in real life, that does a disservice to them, because, you know, obviously we're all human beings, everybody has their weaknesses and their flaws, and we don't want to dehumanize somebody for, you know, being like basically a machine that they're portrayed on screen. But also they have recently deconstructed like the hero cop trope, which is also fascinating, also very timely, about how we think about police. And is that a necessarily true representation of what we see in the real world? I just really love their videos because they're so interesting. I always learn a lot, and it always just makes me feel a little bit smarter also, that I will have something to say about the things that I watch. The next category is food and cooking, which has a very special place in my heart or my stomach, but I love food. So the first channel I want to talk about is Marion's Kitchen, and Marion is an amazing chef. She has these very creative Asian recipes which always look so delicious. I have actually got in the really bad habit of watching her channel at night. Terrible idea. I always want to eat at the late hours. But anyways, her recipes are so great, and she has kind of like non-traditional Asian recipes where she'll put her own spin, or put like an Asian spin on like a traditional, I guess, like Western recipe. And I mean, I love Asian food over Western food any day for me. And it's just really, really cool to see these creative recipes of hers, and I love her noodle recipes. They look so delicious. Also, I just want to take a second to talk about her production quality, which is amazing. It looks so professional, and she always has those like really nice like close-up slow shots of the ingredients and like the final product. It's just really great. And I love her like reaction to all the food in the end when she takes a bite of it and she like really savors it. It's so good. The next food channel I want to talk about is Souped Up Recipes, and this is one for like traditional Chinese cooking. And growing up, I actually didn't have a lot of homemade Chinese food. I would generally like go out to eat Chinese food. But watching this YouTube channel has kind of like demystified a couple of the things that, you know, I would want to make. And Mandy, who is like the girl who runs this channel, is just so cute and so like lively, and you can tell she has so much like passion and joy sharing these recipes with people. And it's like, it's very humble, just like her in her kitchen sharing these recipes, but they look bomb. I haven't actually recreated a ton of them yet, but just watching her is like a joy. The last channel in this category is one that kind of combines the food with the last category, which is film, and of course it is Binging with Babish. If you have not watched Binging with Babish, I don't know where you have been. He is extremely popular, but essentially what he does is recreates recipes that you would see on the screen in real life. And sometimes it's something you see on the screen for like 2 seconds, and other times like there's a whole thing about it in the film. But it's so fascinating, and it's just such a creative concept. What a great concept to recreate recipes from film. And usually he'll do like a very true to film version where he'll try to make it with like all the same ingredients, or like his best guess of what ingredients are in that dish, and then even plate it to make it look at least like almost exactly the same as what you would see in the film. And it's really fascinating. It's almost just like an art in and of itself. But also what he does is sometimes if the product hasn't come out the best, or if he, I don't know, if he somehow isn't satisfied with what he made in the first round, he'll do his own version, which oftentimes is like a lot more complicated, a little bit more heavy lifting in terms of the cooking, and like some more homemade elements. And oftentimes it makes it like more tasty, or just like more food like. But it's super fascinating to see. You can tell he's obviously a great chef. And just to see those two different versions, it's just like a really amazing cooking show. And again, of course, his production quality, very high. He's got a great personality that fits the show. So if you haven't watched Binging with Babish, go watch Binging with Babish. The next category I want to talk about is learning and self-development. And I am kind of like a learning and self-development junkie. So the first channel I want to talk about is Charisma on Command. And these have videos that basically teach you how to be more charismatic, which has always been like a topic of interest to me. And what this channel does really well is, I think a lot of other channels or online learning that try to teach you charisma or confidence often just talk about like theories or principles for you to use, but this channel brings in like examples, often from public figures, so actors, either like in the like film context, or sometimes when they're on their press tours, or sometimes politicians. And it brings in those like examples so you can actually see people applying those principles, which is just so genius and a great way to teach. So the videos are often breakdowns of how people do things effectively. So how, you can turn an awkward situation around, or how somebody commands respect, or how they use like self-deprecating humor effectively, things like that. And then you can see the real life example, and like oftentimes a lot of different examples, which really just helps you apply it to your life way more than just like somebody talking about principles like making eye contact or whatever it may be. So really, really great channel if you want to up like public speaking, or just like be less socially awkward, something I can work on. But yeah, awesome channel to watch. Next in the learning and self-development is Asia Dang, and she's technically a beauty influencer, or like beauty and lifestyle, but within the last couple of years she has delved into personal finance. So she actually had a lot of student debt, and she shared her whole student debt journey from like facing that giant number to like finally paying it off. And she walked through like month by month her budget, and it was like done in a very, very vulnerable way, which I thought was really, really awesome. So she actually has now paid off her student debt, but she talks about just like general personal finance things like savings, budgeting tips, and she still does go through her budget month by month. And I think her style of talking about personal finance is really interesting and fresh. A lot of the things that you can see online have been like very stripped down, like almost to like a clinical level, but she's super raw, super vulnerable. She used to disclose like all her real numbers as well. She doesn't do that anymore for privacy reasons, but it's really fascinating just to see a real human being not always making good decisions with money, but still trying their best. So she offers like a really fresh perspective in personal finance, I feel. And if you're looking for that, check her out. The next YouTube channel I want to talk about, which is basically a news outlet, is Vox. And admittedly, I am not the kind of person who's like really into the news. I have never really been that person. I am that person now more than ever before, but I was never one to like follow current events. But I love Vox. So they have stories about current events, obviously, but they're also very good at tying in like the full story from previous history. And they also do a really good job of weaving in tons of information. They interview experts a lot of the time and just putting that into a very concise, digestible format is really great for people like me who are maybe not that good at keeping up with it. They're just really good at weaving together a compelling story, about things like the economy and the news, things that have traditionally not really interested me, which is a can of worms in and of itself, but they do such a good job at it. And watching their videos has always made me feel, smarter and more learned about current events and the world. Last in this category is a YouTube channel called The School of Life, and I talked about them a little bit more in depth in another video, which should be out but may not be out. So if it is, check that out. I'll leave it down below. If not, look out for it. But essentially they teach things that you should have learned, or that everybody should have learned in school. And it's primarily about, how to deal with your emotions and how to confront your childhood trauma, things like that, we should have learned. And I think I said that a little bit more concisely and eloquently now than in the other video. But nevertheless, everybody should watch The School of Life. Everybody needs to watch that. The next category is a little bit of an unconventional one, and that is ASMR. And the channel I want to talk about is Gentle Whispering. Maria of Gentle Whispering is the queen of ASMR, period. And I know most people say that about like their chosen ASMR artist, which is like the term that the ASMR community uses for people who do ASMR. I have actually explored other ASMR artists, but no one holds a candle to Maria, in my opinion. So, if you are not familiar with what ASMR is, Maria actually has a video, which I think is like on the homepage or like landing screen of her channel, which is like 3 minutes long and introduces you to what ASMR is, shot in like the ASMR style, and it's beautiful and a great introduction, a great primer for anybody who is interested or just curious. So she has videos where she'll just like explore different sounds, and she'll bring in like different objects that make certain sounds. She also has like a ton of role plays that she'll do, which are so creative. I don't know how she comes up with like all these different creative ideas, but they're amazing. But the reason why she's like the best, in my opinion, or like the reason why she's my favorite ASMR artist, is I love the way that she just like describes sounds as she's like playing with them. So she'll just be like tapping on her little hairbrush, her like little wooden hairbrush, and she'll say things like, oh, this has such like a soft but like clicky and cute sound. And whew, I don't know why, but it just adds so much to the video as opposed to like just straight up having the sound there. But if you are interested in ASMR, if you're curious about it, or if you are already into ASMR and want to know a new artist, Gentle Whispering is definitely the way to go. Also, if you suffer from insomnia or like anxiety, ASMR is really known to help with things like that. So definitely check out Gentle Whispering. So the next category I want to talk about is beauty and fashion, and this has kind of like been the bread and butter of my YouTube viewing for many years. It's kind of what got me into YouTube, and as you can tell, even in some of the other categories, a lot of people are beauty or fashion YouTubers, and they just kind of like transcend into other categories. But anyways, the first YouTuber I want to talk about is Violette, and she is a French makeup artist, and she's amazing. You look at the different looks that she creates and they're super creative, but they're super wearable, and you can tell she's just having like a grand old time with the makeup and just being creative and having fun with it. She has an amazing ethos that she clearly lives by, of how makeup shouldn't change your face or shouldn't change how you look. It should just like enhance your natural beauty. And I know people roll their eyes at that, but you can tell she really, really lives by that. For example, like she really doesn't like contouring because she feels like it changes the shape of your face, which I guess it does. But her looks are so amazing. And actually she does have this very like soft ASMR like voice, which maybe is another reason that I like her. But quite recently, maybe about a year ago, she decided that she was gonna change her channel a little bit. Instead of just being her doing the makeup, she invited a ton of other creators to kind of share her platform with her and elevate those other voices. So now her channel is about like not just beauty and makeup, but you know, skincare, wellness, health, etc., fashion. And she has these other guests come in and do their own segments, which is super cool. And I just think that's really amazing. And she said the reason that she did that was she realized like not everybody looks like me, not everyone has the same like skin tone or skin type or body type, and she just wanted to be able to serve her diverse audience, which is really amazing. Also, her production quality is very good. She's got a really cool, edgy editing style that I enjoy watching. I don't know if it's her that edits the videos, but super cool. Something that I had wanted to emulate, but not sure if I could. But you should check her out for any of those reasons. So next up is Joan Kim, or Joan Day on YouTube and Instagram, I believe. She is a vlogger based in Korea, and she has got like the chicest fashion sense, which I just love. I always look to her for like like fashion inspiration. And she has just a really good eye for any sort of aesthetic thing. If you look at her Instagram, you'll see what I'm talking about. She's just got great style. Her vlogs are also really enjoyable to watch. She has a really down-to-earth personality. But yeah, if I'm ever wanting to feel just like aspirational, I just go to her YouTube channel or go to her Instagram. She's definitely worth checking out for like the aesthetic. So the last category I want to talk about is what I'll call personality. And these are people that I watch kind of aside from the main value of their channel, and I just watch them primarily for their personality because I like the energy that they bring. And the first channel that I will talk about is Jen M, and I talk about her in another video, same one as the School of Life, so I'll either link it down below or you can look out for it. But yeah, Jen M just has like a really lovely, fun, bubbly personality that's, you know, just very easy to watch. The next YouTube channel I want to talk about is Best Dressed, or Ashley. Her name is Ashley. She is a fashion influencer, but her YouTube channel is so much more than just fashion. To me, she is like the definition of a woke Gen Zer. I don't know why, but I just feel like she is so woke in all of her videos when she's talking about fashion or like travel, things like that. Like she always recognizes her privilege. She's always also very honest about like her inner monologue, especially around things like anxiety or just like anxious thoughts in general. You can tell through her videos, you can see her inner monologue, and she's not shy about sharing it. Even though she has this like very self-deprecating humor, she's very relatable, and I just really enjoy seeing that kind of like raw yet spunky personality that she has. She's also super into like film and television, which is another added bonus, and she does talk about that sometimes, which is really interesting to see her take on film. Next up is Chloe Coriolan. I think that's how you pronounce her last name, but I'm not sure. And she's a YouTuber that I stumbled upon very recently, actually. But as soon as I watched her first video, I subsequently just like binged so many more of her videos because she's just so easy and fun to watch. And I mean, as the category says, it's because she's got this like easygoing but like bubbly personality that really just like puts you in a good mood. Watching her videos put me in a good mood just because she's got this like lovely energy about her, and it's both like easygoing and relaxed but upbeat. And I don't know how she does it, but if you watch her videos, you will know what I mean. She also posted one video for every single day of May, and especially for me kind of getting started out on my YouTube journey, like, wow, that work ethic is amazing. I respect that. All right, the last YouTuber I want to talk about is Just Joe Lee, and he's another YouTuber that I stumbled across very recently, and he's kind of in the like sustainability minimalism space, and those are the things that he talks about. But what I love about him is he has this like slogan or catchphrase, which is be less shitty, and wow, that's just so clever. And I think especially in like the kind of sustainability and minimalism space, people have the idea that, you know, if I'm not perfect or if I'm not doing like every single little thing that I can be doing to be minimal and to be sustainable, then like it's just not worth it, or I just can't do it. And his catchphrase of be less shitty is kind of speaking directly in opposition to that and saying that, hey, it's okay to just take baby steps and do little things as long as it's like less shitty than before, then that's like, you know, net positive. And he's got, again, like a very easygoing personality when he's talking about these things, which for anybody who is looking to get into a more sustainable lifestyle, kind of like takes the pressure off, which I think everybody could use. So highly recommend his videos and his YouTube channel. All right, guys, that is it for the YouTubers that I think are the best in their given category. Again, I will work on a better name for that. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and like it or share it or whatever. But I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.